Hi guys, this short tutorial is just to talk about the difference between an aligned rubric and a custom rubric. In Schoology, if you navigate to the grade setup area, this is where we have access to our scales and our rubrics. Our rubrics, we don't start with any because we have to create those custom to our course, but to do so, you'll click Add and you'll create Rubric. Now, the purpose of this video is to just talk about the difference between them. So, an aligned rubric has you take a scaled rubric and align it directly to a learning standard. So if we look at this as maybe a Common Core math standard, I'll map to grade 7 here. Maybe the ratios and proportional relationships is our standard, and we're looking at the first standard. We can align that standard across the scale, and we can change the scale to be whatever we want it to be. Our default comes in as a 4-3-2-1 scale out of 4 points, and you can align as many learning standards as you want to in your rubric. Now, a custom scale then uses the criteria button here, where an aligned scale aligns directly to standards. A custom scale lets you create your own custom categories. Now, just like I showed, you can intermix them. Typically, we will use one or the other. So if I look at it as this way, when I create my rubric, I'm either going to be adding in just my learning objectives, or I'm going to be creating my own custom one with criteria. So a custom scale is criteria, and an aligned rubric is using learning objectives. Now, the main thing I want you to understand about this, I'm going to add in a learning objective here. Let's call this what it is. It's an aligned rubric, and you can be more specific as you create these. And then I'm going to make a second one here. If I do a custom rubric, maybe I'm grading them on their presentation as part of a project. And it can be whatever you want to be across that grade scale. You can edit these however you need to. And this is a custom rubric. So when I look at this now, I've got aligned rubrics and custom rubrics. What I want you to understand is that when you use an aligned rubric, those standards that you selected will get reported to the mastery section here if you're going to be using that. If you're not, you won't really care about that. When you use an aligned rubric, the score from it, the total number of points, is what goes to your gradebook. So be careful if you're using an aligned rubric and you say, hey, you did a good job, and you score a student a 3, let's say, using this rubric. What'll happen is over in the mastery section, it'll see that they're a 3 out of a 4, and it'll align to however you have that set up. But as far as the gradebook's concerned, it's going to send a 3 out of 4 points total to the gradebook, and that's going to report out as a C, right? A 75% C. So be careful if you are planning on using this aligned style rubric with an actual grade. If a 3 to you is a B, then they're not coordinating, so we're going to have to make changes to that. But understand that, again, the aligned rubric goes to mastery as far as the understanding of the skill, and the score is what goes to the gradebook. If you use custom rubrics, nothing goes to mastery, and whatever the score is goes to the gradebook. Again, if I scored a 3 out of a 4 on an assignment, well, I said that's good, what I'm actually reporting out is a 75% C. So we can adjust these scales to be whatever point value we want it to be. And that's what the next videos will go into further to help you pick which one you should watch. So go ahead. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Otherwise, you can get into how to create these rubrics in the next couple tutorials.